After 5 intense days of racing in Sepang and Buriram, the 2025 MotoGP season has begun to reveal its potential contenders and disappointments. Evaluating the performances, Ducati's decision to revert to their 2024 engine and retain last year's chassis, possibly even carrying over aerodynamics from 2024, will be met with mixed reactions from their rivals. This strategic move suggests Ducati aims to refine their GP24 model primarily through upgrades in electronics and suspension rather than major structural changes. The GP24, already hailed as near perfect, is poised to maintain its supremacy, despite Ducati's decision to halt major updates later in 2024. Nonetheless, by freezing developments in their engine and chassis, Ducati offers a window for competitors to narrow the gap. Having dominated with 19 wins out of 20 races last season, Ducati's hunt for victories may face challenges, barring a repeat of Austin's exceptional performance. This shift potentially opens opportunities for other manufacturers, particularly Aprilia and KTM, encouraged by the reduced presence of Mercedes on the grid. While continuity defines much of this year's MotoGP landscape, the stipulated engine freeze means Ducati will rely on a 3-year-old engine into the 2026 season. In contrast, Honda and Yamaha, if concessions persist, can continue developing their machines until the current regulations conclude. Ducati's rivals may hope to exploit any weaknesses from the winter break, but the GP24 riders appear set for a formidable campaign. After a season where the gap between the two Mercedes specifications was all too evident, 2025 promises a far more balanced contest among the 6 Ducati riders. The last time Ducati introduced a fresh engine concept in 2022, the factory squad opted for a hybrid version, while the remaining GP22 riders persevered with what initially seemed an inferior package. This time, however, all 6 bikes will run the same engine, eliminating a major variable from the mix. Early testing suggests Franco Morbidelli and Alex Marquez are already proving the quickest over a single lap, while Fermin Aldeguer stood out as the fastest rookie until the final day of running. Morbidelli's familiarity with the GP24 following his stint at Pramac has clearly played to his advantage, while Marquez has swiftly adapted to the new machine, having topped the timesheets in Barcelona last November and again in Sepang this February. All of this points to a season more akin to 2022 to 2023, when year-old Ducatis were still competitive enough to claim victories and mount a surprise title challenge. Marc Marquez had already grabbed the headlines in Sepang, but it was in Buriram where he truly stole the spotlight, topping the timesheets and lapping just 0.15 of a second shy of the outright lap record. The Spaniard's blistering pace has already marked him out as an early favourite for the season, though he remains reluctant to say as much himself. Marquez was also among a select group of riders to complete a full race simulation on Thursday, with his 23-lap afternoon stint drawing plenty of attention in the paddock. While there's little in the way of direct comparison for his long-run pace, the numbers alone make for ominous reading for his rivals. His performances in pre-season testing will no doubt serve as a major confidence boost, especially given the lingering concerns surrounding the career-changing injury he suffered in 2020. Marquez may well be right when he says he'll never reach the heights of his dominant 2010s form again, but even in his current physical condition, he remains more than capable of getting the better of his competitors. And one of the biggest surprises of pre-season, according to Marquez himself, has been the impressive form of his younger brother Alex. The 2019 Moto2 champion looks set to be a regular presence on the front row now that he finally has a machine that plays to his strengths. Alex Marquez enjoyed a solid 2024 campaign, finishing a career-best 8th in the championship, though his results have largely flown under his older brother's radar. His time in the Premier class has been far from straightforward, and he is still searching for that elusive first MotoGP victory, a milestone that slipped through his fingers more than once during his rookie season with Repsol Honda in 2020. However, if he can build on the speed he showed last year, he may finally begin to deliver on the early promise he displayed in Moto3. Yamaha. Ducati may have overstated matters when they labelled Fabio Quartararo as their chief rival, but there's no denying that Yamaha have taken a significant step forward this year. They stole a march on their competitors by getting their riders out for the Sepang shakedown, and once official testing got underway in Malaysia, they were among the pace setters. Gains have been made in both single lap and race pace, largely thanks to better braking stability and an increase in top speed. And with Yamaha's new technical structure beginning to take shape, further improvements should follow. That said, some of Yamaha's long-standing weaknesses remain difficult to eradicate. The M1 continues to struggle in low-grip conditions, with little progress made on that front during testing in Buriram. Quartararo also encountered issues with front-end feel in Thailand, which contributed to him falling nearly a second adrift of Marquez's pace. On a brighter note, things are looking promising at Pramac, which has partnered with Yamaha as its new satellite team. The move has also rejuvenated Jack Miller, who has taken to the new environment well and adapted quickly to the M1. The Australian could prove to be a crucial figure in Yamaha's resurgence. Honda. Some may have questioned Honda's decision to sit out the Sepang shakedown, but by the time testing wrapped up in Buriram on Thursday, they had firmly established themselves inside the top 10. Like Yamaha, Honda are still grappling with some of the RC213V's fundamental limitations, particularly a lack of outright top speed and rear grip. However, the general atmosphere within the camp is one of optimism. The biggest boost for Honda is that factory riders Luca Marini and Joan Mir are finally content with the progress made and are gelling well with the improved bike. It's a stark contrast to 2024, when both Mir, Honda's de facto team leader, and the newly arrived Marini found themselves trailing the LCR duo of Johan Zarco and Takaaki Nakagami. Mir has bought into Honda's new direction after 2 bruising seasons that left him contemplating retirement, while Marini, now in his second year with the Japanese manufacturer, no longer faces the steep learning curve that came with switching from Ducati machinery in 2024. The Yamaha-Honda battle is shaping up to be one to watch, with Mir showing strong pace in Buriram sprint simulations, closely matching Quartararo's times. Marco Bezzecchi. Aprilia faced some scrutiny when they signed Marco Bezzecchi last June, as the Italian was going through a rough patch with VR46 at the time. However, his performance during pre-season testing, stepping up in Jorge Martin's absence, has more than justified their decision. The Noel-based team was impressed with Bezzecchi's contribution from the outset, making it easy to place their trust in him when Martin was sidelined. Moreover, his 1-minute 29.244 second lap on the final day of testing was the fastest ever recorded by an Aprilia rider at Buriram. That's no small feat, given that the Chang International Circuit has never played to Aprilia's strengths, with its heavy braking zones proving a challenge for the RSGP. Braking remains an area Bezzecchi believes Aprilia needs to refine, but the strides they've made over the winter have put them in a position to challenge Ducati. Rookie II Ogura's 7th place finish, just 3 spots behind Bezzecchi, further highlights the progress the team has made. While it remains to be seen how quickly Martin will adapt to the bike upon his return, Bezzecchi is well placed to capitalize on Aprilia's improvements when the season kicks off in Thailand later this month. Jorge Martin's pre-season preparations took a disastrous turn at Sepang, where he managed just 13 laps before crashing at turn 2 and ending up in hospital. Missing almost the entirety of testing is always a major setback for a rider, but switching to a completely different bike under such circumstances only makes the challenge even greater. Just ask Franco Morbidelli. Whatever the reason for the crash, the impact on Martin is clear. He now faces a race against time to recover from his injuries and get back on track. Aprilia have invested in Martin for the long haul, so they'll give him the time he needs to adapt to the RSGP. However, there's no escaping the fact that this is a nightmare start to his title bid. This is also Martin's first time switching manufacturers in MotoGP, meaning he'll be climbing a steep learning curve when he returns. Even Marco Bezzecchi has admitted he's yet to fully adapt to the RSGP, despite 6 days of testing, including time at Barcelona. With that in mind, one can only imagine how tough it will be for Martin to get up to speed with the bike's unique demands over the course of a race weekend. Francesco Bagnaia sees Marc Marquez's arrival at Ducati as a fresh challenge in his career. After missing out on the 2024 title to Jorge Martin, Bagnaia believes that overcoming Marquez will be key to reasserting himself as the top rider in MotoGP. However, based on pre-season testing results, he will need to be at his absolute best to secure a 3rd Premier Class championship. Whether Bagnaia can get the better of Marquez over the course of the season remains to be seen. What is certain is that Marquez has enjoyed an impressive pre-season, while Bagnaia has found himself on the back foot. The contrast between the two was stark in Buriram, While Marquez shot to the top of the timesheets, Bagnaia lost a full day of running due to a series of setbacks, forcing him to reset his program from scratch. The final day was more productive for the Italian, but by then Marquez had already made further strides, widening the gap. Bagnaia managed to put together some long runs, but unlike Marquez, he was unable to complete full race simulations. Writing off Bagnaia would be unwise, but there's no doubt his pre-season preparations have been far from ideal. Hey MotoGP fans, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with all the latest action.